Tonight's forecast is sponsored by Ashbrook Audiology, where relationships matter.
Happy Thursday to you and Memorial Day weekend, as well as our graduation weekend for our seniors across Bassett and Magna Vista. I'm Weatherman Dustin Staples. Appreciate your company as always. And we're going to talk about the graduation forecast. There's some good news coming up now. A lot of our model data has finally come into an agreement whether of how much rain will linger or will be out of here quicker. Right now, most model trends are trending it to be out of here faster than we were anticipating. So that is some good news for us. But however, though, we have the severe threat moving in tonight, that'll be the main concern for flash flooding. Again, some of these storms could produce some gusty winds and even some small hail. Right now, there is no tornado concern, but right now the threat is not high, but it's not zero. So just keep that in mind. I am long overdue for a photo that I have promised a good friend of mine, Garrett Ludwig. He is spending his part of his graduation time from Radford, and this is the full lunar blood moon eclipse. As you know, this is about 2 weeks ago, or almost at that point now. Took his camera out late in the night hours on that evening there, or the next morning. He sent me this photo, and I said, "Hey, man," I said, "you've got some good photogenical photography." There you go. That's what I'm trying to put together with you here. I said, "Hey, can I use your photo?" He said, "Absolutely." So that's the full lunar blood moon eclipse. The next one is scheduled to happen later in November. So we'll have to look forward to again. So thanks, Garrett. And we always enjoy seeing your photos. And again, there's a potential we may be needing your photo reports, as the potential for severe weather is forecasted, with the main concern would be flash flooding. So remember to always do those so safely. I want to begin here with a drought monitor because again, all that rain we saw earlier this week helped us out pretty well. So we're not in a sufficient drought by no means. And you see everybody in the Commonwealth of Virginia is under that yellow, basically meaning that it's just a abnormally dry spell. So that is not unheard of to get these type of dry periods. We do see rain events that we saw earlier this week that produced almost 3.5 inches, 4.5 inches of rain in short amount of time. That clears our drought monitor out. That's good news, but too much rain is not a good thing as well. So we are right on target for making up our rain departure for the month of May. We are now running almost about an inch of where we should be for this time of the month. So we are doing pretty well, I will say, with that. Also, another thing I want to talk about again is the severe weather risk. Let me get my words here straight here. So as you see here, we are not in that slight risk. We have now been, or not that general risk. So as you see, nothing to be concerned about. So let's kind of ignore the Western Plains states and, modern general risk of thunderstorms out there. Again, we have that slight risk here. We are right there on that line of marginal and a slight risk of severe storms moving in for tonight and Friday, particularly tomorrow morning is our main concern right now. The better chance of higher severe weather risk remains well out of our area, going up that 95 corridor up towards parts of Maryland and New Jersey and Pennsylvania, even seeing some of those severe thunderstorms moving in their direction. So on top of that, we do appear that we're going to be most generally okay, but again, the severe threat is mostly flooding, thanks to the rain the rain we saw earlier this week. Now that we have enough ground that has been saturated, again, I talked about this demonstration earlier in the week. Think about a sponge. When you squeeze a sponge out and you run it over a faucet, and maybe you put that experiment to work at home with your kids, or maybe you can try it out yourself. What happens with that water? What happens to it? It has nowhere to go. And so what happens with this case, the water just kind of sits there, and when you're squeezing that sponge out of there or that wash rag, that is kind of what happens when the atmosphere gets so saturated, and how much moisture, of course, the dew point, the amount of availability in the atmosphere that allows our moisture availability to get so high and intense. When that sponge wrings out, in this case, we get those gully washer thunderstorms, it produces a lot of heavy rain. And since it has nowhere else to go, it does produce a little bit of a flood concern for us as we make our way towards tonight and going into tomorrow morning. You'll see that here in our outlook for tonight. Again, generally speaking, the main concern, it will not be happening as you're heading home from work. maybe a stray shower, but other than that, you're not going to be running into flash flooding as you're heading home from work tonight. But you may begin to see some of those storms start to move in since the warm air is already in place. Again, we're not talking about oppressive heat, thankfully, but if we were talking about that case, we would have a higher chance of severe weather. But again, the main concern is that flash flooding later tonight in the overnight hours of this Thursday into Friday. We are going to most likely see a better chance of those scattered storms. Again, numerous at times, so just keep that in mind. If you have anything outdoors you want to kind of preserve and keep safe from it getting so saturated, you want to go ahead and do it before 7, 8, 9 o'clock tonight, as obviously again we'll see a stray shower possible overnight and tomorrow morning for your Friday. We're generally going to be seeing lows in the 60s everywhere you go. Again, the main concern being the flash flooding. Temperatures in the 60s. As you make your way towards tomorrow morning, that is when we'll begin to see the most of the heaviest of the rain stick around. Not until about lunchtime. We may get a break in the activity. Some areas further west, again, Franklin County, Ferrum, Medicine, Stewart, even they see some showers continuing on throughout the afternoon, but it will not be as widespread as it'll be moving in this evening too for Thursday. As you see, our highs getting up in the upper 70s tomorrow everywhere you go. And again, our cool spots are in the mountains outside of Patrick County and Stewart, Patrick Springs, Medicine up there too. So once more, just keep a close eye on those rivers. If you live across the streams, creeks, river fronts, wherever you may be, that will be the main theme for that. Again, here for the city of Martinsville, of course, graduation. We'll talk about that in a little bit too. It's looking to be pretty okay throughout the afternoon. So other than that, so for Friday evening, as you all are aware, it is the Magna Vista graduation. On top of that, I'm not talking about any major flood concerns either. So what will end up happening before we get to Bassett's here on Saturday for Friday night, Magna Vista's graduation? Here's what I got for you. We're going to see rain scattered throughout the afternoon. Ridgeway folks, pay attention to this because this is going to be important. As you know, that graduation is scheduled to be outdoors. There is a plan B just in case if they have to go indoors for Magna Vista. So stay tuned for that. We have a crew that will be covering that Friday night. Again, that time is at 7 p.m. I would highly suggest getting there about an hour or two beforehand so you can get you a nice parking spot. Generally, that's when people get there and they kind of have to scatter and you have parking everywhere. So Friday night, maybe some lingering showers. I'm not expecting any widespread rain. Maybe a few hit or miss light showers, but by the time graduation does start, we should begin to see most of the activity out of the area. Nothing to be concerned about. Again, our overnight temperatures will be in the upper 60s there for everybody. So about the time graduation starts, we may have a sunset in the background. It'd be nice to see that at least. And again, but keep in mind, the ground's going to be very mushy. So my advice to you, I know, they don't want you all wearing boots and duck boots on stage or graduation, but if you're heading out there, I would highly advise you to put you a pair of boots on because you're going to be stepping in a lot of smush as you make your way through the graduation on Friday night. Saturday morning, Bassett High School, again, not as hot as last week as Martinsville. Luis was out there. He was telling me the other day, I was talking to him, and he was telling me, he said, Dustin, our cameras are overheating. How dare you make it so hot? I said, look, man, I'm just in promotion, not production. So shouldn't we talk about any overheating cameras tomorrow, Luis? Just keep at him, or Saturday, excuse me, or tomorrow night too for graduation. So first half of the day is going to be, we'll see some clouds beginning of the morning. We may run into some areas of fog out there. Just keep that in mind. By the time graduation starts about 9 o'clock on your Saturday morning, that is scheduled to take place outside of the Bassett High School football stadium there. Temperatures will be in the 60s out there. Will warm up right around 80 degrees. So a beautiful afternoon for any outdoor activities. I think Bassett is the high school winner for graduation after celebration because Martinsville was way too hot. Patrick and Henry's graduation was way wet and it was humid. Magna Vistas, again, you may want to hold your stuff off to maybe Saturday afternoon and join in with your families if you're doing anything outdoors too. Sunday, as you make your way out, maybe you're waiting to Sunday. Beautiful afternoon, a little warmer than what we've been seeing the last couple of days. Not this cool air wedge that's been in effect with us. So mostly sunny skies. Again, we'll continue through your Memorial Day Monday. Just to give you a heads up, we will be streaming our Memorial Day services for our area. So just keep that in mind. You will not have this weather forecast with you, so you have to just trust my gut and say that it'll be nice, and it will be nice on this too. So we will be not having our regular 5 p.m. newscast next Monday, but we'll be off for the holiday. But you'll have some Memorial Day services that we'll be streaming and posting on our Facebook page and our television too. So just keep that in mind. We'll be back on next Tuesday, mid 80s. We will begin to see the humidity increase as we make our way towards the first few days of June, as we do approach that time frame. It's also the start of hurricane season. We talked about that very briefly earlier this week as NOAA put out their predictions for the hurricane outlook. It's looking to be an above average season. But again, Monday for Memorial Day, it is looking to be pretty nice. Pollen levels, one more time. I know Luis has been talking about this too. We're not talking about any high levels of pollen except for Friday with the storms moving in. They will start to go back up again. Oak, birch, hickory, juniper, also being the maple trees are starting to get their leaves open back up again. So you may need some pollen, your tissues and stuff for Saturday and Sunday, and going into next week, it is expected to go back up on the high side, because we're going to finally dry out for a while and not see a lot of heavy rain. So the rain has helped us out with our drought, and of course it's going to help us out for Friday's pollen too. So if you're heading out, like I said, graduations, keep in mind. Well, before we get to that, let's talk about again Thursday one more time here. Main concern for Thursday, tonight into Friday. The threat is flash flooding. That is the only concern. We have the main concern. Damaging winds. I'm not talking about any high significant winds, but again, there will be some gusty winds here and there. And unfortunately, if you do get under one of the thunderstorms, that'll produce a lot of rain. Thanks to the atmosphere being so saturated, that water has nowhere to go. It'll possibly have runoff concerns. Now, if you remember 2 years ago about this time, I'm not talking about 7, 8, 9 inches of rain in a short amount of time. We had mudslides, and previously we had already seen rain days before. If you remember 2 years ago, this past week we had live coverage on flood concerns. I'm not talking about any, again, no significant flooding, but there's a possibility we could see some isolated spots where you'll most likely have over 5 inches of rain, thanks to the last couple of days accumulative with this too. The main concern for tomorrow morning, for Friday, we'll have the flash flooding threat, some storms moving through. By mid-afternoon, things will calm down and clear out for graduation. Other than that, just watch out for some isolated higher flood threats in between your routes to graduations, and begin Friday night through Saturday, through the weekend, the holiday weekend. Temperatures will start to warm up, will begin to finally dry out, and again, the pollen will also be on the increase. So with all that said, we wish you a happy Memorial Day weekend. Enjoy with the family, take care, look after one another. Of course, it has been a interesting, of course, a sobering week here in America for the last couple of weeks, and we want to just kind of take time to pause and reflect on Monday, thanking our veterans and also thanking all of our officials who keep our country safe. It has been such a hard last couple of weeks. As you know, the most recent one was that Texas shooting out there, and unfortunately taking way too many children's lives at a short amount of time. So take some time, reflect on the weekend, be grateful for where we are right now, and just be, thank everybody for, keep your loved ones near, as they've been saying too. So congratulations to the class of 2022. I wish you all future endeavors, success ahead. And you made it, 2 years of a pandemic. You thought you wouldn't be able to get it through. You made it. Anything's possible as you put your mindset to it. So have a wonderful weekend, everybody. Take some time to reflect with one another, and remember our veterans and our fallen services members who have gone and who've long and gone, and again those who are currently putting their lives out there. We have the Russian war going on with Ukraine, and even some of our some people, if you may know them, out there too. But other than that, have a wonderful weekend. Just memorialize and take care as the unofficial start of summer is underway. We hope you have a wonderful weekend.
Your BTW21 weather forecast is sponsored by Zentmeyer.